they want the kiss. They know I bodied you, sis.
Bring the beat life like journal. Young gang star flip the kill switch. Jojo, pose, pose, pose.
We're gonna go through accessories, my regular accessories, my designer accessories, tops and bottoms, my designer tops and bottoms.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey guys, so in today's video I'm going to be discussing all of my archive / vintage designer pieces that I've gotten, that I've acquired, that I've copped over the past year. It is definitely a growing collection, and you'll definitely see where my headspace has been in terms of buying these pieces and why I've purchased these pieces. Bear with me, it was extremely hard trying to research and track down the years of these pieces. It was extremely hard, so anything that I leave out or I say, I will definitely be sure to note that in the caption below. So yeah, before I get into this video, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and follow all my social media in the description box down below. So I have tried doing collection videos of my entire wardrobe for a year. Like, I've literally had a video sitting in the vault for a year or close to a year, and it's been very difficult, and my wardrobe has changed so much, and fashion is just constantly aging, so these videos are pretty outdated. So I really at least just wanted to capture my current vintage collection. A little bumpy, but trust me, I've done my research, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. I always seem to gravitate towards luxury fashion, even though I couldn't necessarily afford it. In the beginning, when I started selling on Depop and I had a job, I was able to afford more luxury. However, a lot of the pieces initially were pretty tacky, or I didn't really appreciate enough, so I sold them. Case in point, this Roberto Cavalli newspaper dress from '93, I believe, like, I don't know, or 2001, my fault. I don't know why I sold that dress. It wasn't flattering to me. It was too tight, but it was a beautiful piece. And sometimes it's not always about wearing the piece, it's about just having it in a collection. Enough with the jibber jabber. We're now just gonna get straight into the video.
This is #1 champion sound, yeah, Estelle.
The first piece I wanted to present to you guys is this Louis Vuitton Papillon 30, which is, I believe, a longer barrel than the Papillon 26. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but you know, sorry. And this is actually from the 80s, which is pretty evident in the straps and the wear. The straps are darker with newer models. You'll see the straps have gotten lightened over the years, but I like it because of just how long this bag has held up is just amazing. So I'm definitely gonna get the straps redone probably. And this was my first piece that I bought with my own money. And I like it. I think it does enough. You know, people still know it's a Louis Vuitton, but it's still kind of like more modest, and I feel like I can kind of throw it on with anything. Case in point, my outfit right now. Like, I feel like I could walk out the house right now with this bag. Louis Vuitton was definitely one of my first like brands that I was interested in when I first started buying designer, vintage designer and archive pieces. And I think that's just kind of to be expected. Like, when you first start buying pieces that are more expensive and are designer, you're gonna want to go with the bigger brands so people know what you're wearing. But now recently I've kind of been delving more into actual how the piece looks and not really the logos, the brands, all of that. But I think bags are still very good. A way to kind of still show your brand without it being too much. I think bags are always a great investment. The second bag I want to show you guys was this Louis Vuitton. It is a gorgeous piece. She is from 2006, I believe. She's definitely one of my favorite vintage pieces that I've bought, just because of how much value these bags hold. They tend to go for $1,000. And it's just, I know if I ever had a rainy day, I doubt this would probably be the last thing on earth I would sell, but God forbid. I definitely am passing this on to my child. Hopefully they have the same love for fashion as I do. It's authenticated. Really a collector's piece. I like wearing it, but I really don't like wearing it that much. I feel like Louis Vuitton was very experimental in the 2000s. And the 2000s were generally just a fun time. That's why a lot of my archives do come from the 2000s, or my vintage items come from the 2000s. So the next piece are these Dior mules that I purchased. I believe I got these in like March, February, April, one of those months. It's all been a blur. And these have the padlock, and these are a size 35.5, which I'm surprised I fit. The Dior lock and key. I've discussed these shoes in another video of mine, so I will be sure to attach that video so you can go check that video out. So while these are definitely, like, if you look close at them, they do say Dior on them. There's no denying that. But they still are simple enough and modest enough where I could just wear them and people kind of can know, but they don't always have to know. That's kind of really where I'm at in terms of buying things designer these days. I believe from 2001. So they've been hanging in there. They've been hanging in there. I'm probably going to get these refurbished as well. I'm more of a collector's piece, so I'll only really wear them when it's special. I wore them for a photo shoot I was in, and that was literally it. Like, I'm definitely not going to be walking the streets of New York with these on.
This is #1 champion sound, yeah, Estelle.
Okay, so my first piece is this Dolce & Gabbana lace up top. I got some makeup on it from touching it. This was one of my most recent vintage cops, and this was because I've been moving towards less logo heavy items and more conceptual pieces, things with laces, but still have a very feminine silhouette. And so it's very tight fitting. It's actually semi-sheer. So, you know, I have to wear full coverage or just not wear anything under at all. But I like this top. It's definitely a little bit too small. Italian sizing is definitely, at least like vintage designer sizing is definitely kind of difficult to gauge. Like, you really have to ask questions about the piece. It's described as a special piece, which means that it was probably on some runway. I just can't find which runway. Next piece I got, this was actually seen in my photo shoot a while ago, and this is a Visu jeans. For those who don't know, a Visu was started in 1991 in Osaka, Japan by, I'm not going to butcher his name, that's offensive. And this is circa, I believe this is actually one of the first collections, I believe. It's from 1991, so it's definitely lasted a long time. Evisu in general just has great quality. Jeans, clothes, they're really known for their hand-painted denim, and so when I saw this, I never really had seen, like, I've only seen a handful of Evisu graphic tees, but this especially I just gravitated towards because it had the selvage, I believe, on the back. So yeah, it's definitely an older piece. There's definitely some wear to it, but overall it's definitely one of my favorite pieces in my closet right now. So at this point I'm just kind of letting my brain choose what next vintage designer piece I have and not trying to force an aesthetic on myself. Okay, so the next piece is by the brand Hysteric Glamour. So for those who don't know, Hysteric Glamour was started in 1984 by, I'm not going to butcher his name, that's offensive. And they're really known for their 1960s mass media aesthetic. They tend to portray artwork of Andy Warhol, the musician Mark Bolan, and other rock bands. And I got this top because, as you can see, I really like white, and I think white tees currently is just kind of what I've been gravitating towards. And, you know, even though this is technically kind of like an all or punk brand, I think it's all in how you style it. I think it's still a very great piece, and the silhouette is, I just love the silhouette, and it's very hard tracking down Hysteric Glamour collections. They are considered an anti-fashion label, so fashion shows, they don't really do those, and a lot of their pieces are very hard to track down. So finding a piece like this definitely was something else, and I'm not sure who this shirt is depicting. But on the back it says the Hysteric. Okay, so my next piece is my next piece is also by Hysteric Glamour, and it is actually a vest, and it has patchwork pieces on it. I fell in love with this top from the moment I saw it, and actually, ironically, in the picture I thought this right here were like small rhinestones. But they're actually skulls from the kids collection. I think this is junior sizing, but basically this is a Hysteric Minis top, and I like wearing this. I think it's a great silhouette. What you come to find out with Hysteric Glamour, a lot of their sizing is called free, which is basically extra small to small and sometimes medium. It's definitely one of my summer favorites. I do think because of TikTok and social media, there's been this rise in finding these Japanese cult brands such as Evisu and Hysteric Glamour. Hysteric Glamour preceded Evisu and Bape. They paved the way. Read the book Amatora. I'll put it somewhere here. Amatora. It really goes into detail about Japanese style, menswear, and I think menswear has a really big effect on fashion today because fashion is so unisex now. This piece especially is extremely near and dear to my heart because this was a gift from my now best friend, and this was really what kind of got me on the trajectory of liking luxury fashion and streetwear. This is definitely one of the older designs because there are no embroidery or sharks. I don't really like that. I think on the right person I'm sure it looks great, but it's a very simplistic hoodie, and it does zip all the way up like all the trademark Bape hoodies do, and it has the double zipper. It's an amazing hoodie. It definitely was my first piece, and when I wore it to school for the first time, the girls were freaking out because they could not fathom me wearing a designer piece, and it was kind of weird because it felt like people were a little bit too obsessed with the fact that I had a Bape hoodie, but it definitely was one of my favorites, and I wear it all the time. No shame in saying that. It's, you know, it's one of those pieces that it is definitely special, but it's also very practical to wear, and I don't have to wait for a special occasion to wear it, and it's super heavy. Like, it's a very heavy jacket, and I'm in love with it. It's very near and dear to my heart. So the next piece is Dolce & Gabbana. So the reason I'm not really going over the history of Dolce & Gabbana is because I'm sure you guys have heard they're not very friendly of people that aren't white or male. So honestly, I buy all of my Dolce & Gabbana secondhand. I've never supported them directly. I really just like appreciating a piece for the piece, and I kind of see myself as like an art curator, and my wardrobe is just my curation. So this is a buckle top. This was a runway piece. I believe this was from the mid-2000s, I want to say. I'm in love with this piece. It's definitely very fitting though, and flattering. It definitely kind of was reflecting, it's definitely reflective of my punk aesthetic at the time of buying this, or what I thought was a punk aesthetic. My collection is such a wide range of things, and that's really because I wasn't really sure what my style was. I don't really like how it looks on me these days, but I think it's a great going out top to have. So the next archive I have is this reworked Versace sport skirt. This was authenticated and verified. This is definitely a summer favorite. I even got a custom airbrush tee to match this, and I have yet to wear the ensemble. I love this top. This was one of my first few vintage pieces that I've bought for myself. And I bought it in mind of like the summer, and I'm sure you guys have seen like the supermodel aesthetic with Naomi Campbell, Chrissy Turlington, Cindy Crawford. Versace was the one that really kind of helped push this aesthetic, and all of those designs you see on Pinterest, most likely they're in Versace. I think if I saw this piece today, I would probably just admire it from afar and not purchase it. I've purchased Versace before. I wore vintage Versace for my birthday last year, and the reason why I'm not sharing that archive is it actually has a rip in the front, so it's not really giving what it was supposed to have gave. It's growing. I think my pieces will continue to grow. So I mean, as you can see, like I kind of went from logo heavy with the Louis Vuitton, and now I'm kind of going with more simplistic, less flashy designs. I just kind of want to enjoy the piece for the piece and not because it has its brand plastered over it. These are new era of Visus, I believe. And they just are a very simplistic design. And I like them exactly for that reason, as I've explained to you Visus history and just how they're known for their hand-painted selvages. I had another pair of Visus that were super cute, but they just aren't fitting into my aesthetic anymore, or what I really want my style to be. I really like simple these days, and so that's why. But I've actually lost weight, so now these pants are basically like butt crack exposing. So flattering on the hips. Like, I don't think you guys understand how flattering these jeans are. If you want a nice pair of low-rise jeans, if you're into the Y2K aesthetic, Visus are definitely the way to go. And there are many affordable pairs secondhand, but just make sure you have them authenticated because Visus specializes in denim. So with both pairs of the Visus that I owned, the quality was out of this world. The fit was so flattering. I recommend, if you want to invest in some nice pair of jeans, definitely invest in some Visus. There are definitely some more flashier designs, or the designs where the selvage is on the whole pant. But personally for me and what I want for my style right now, I kind of would just prefer them on the back pocket. So these are Prada, and these are from the Autumn Winter collection in 2007. I was kind of able to find a collection to reference back to. This is not a runway piece. They definitely weren't found. These definitely, I don't think these were worn on the runway, but there are definitely some motifs throughout that runway show that reflect this, so that's what leads me to believe that they are from the Autumn Winter 2007 era. I love these pants. They kind of remind me of Ottinger Ekislata, if I'm pronouncing that properly. And I'm just and they're ombre. Like, I just have never seen these before. The reason I bought these were a really recent purchase. The reason I bought these was specifically because they don't have Prada all over them. It's just a beautiful design, and that's really what I'm trying to get at with my style here. Hey everyone, so that's it for my archive / vintage designer collection. I know this was definitely a bit wordy and kind of awkward, but this is kind of definitely a new territory for me. I definitely want to dive in more into how I shop and just why I choose the items that I purchase and things like that, and where my headspace was. So thank you guys for watching this video, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and follow all of my social media in the description box down below. And don't forget to remind me, or don't forget to let me know in the comments what your favorite piece of mine was. Bye!
I know city girls like niggas dark skin and pretty. All I wanna do is have fun in the city. All I want